All right, we're gonna get rolling. Some of you guys have been here before and I appreciate you coming back. Some of you, this is your first time and I appreciate you being here. Thank you. The purpose of this is not for you to shake hands and talk about what you do. The purpose of this is actually to leverage what you're learning inside of your business. This is a workshop, but a workshop that's educational in style. So there's gonna be something that is going to be applicable to what you're doing right now. Tonight happens to be the customer care cycle, as I call it. How is it that we're taking care of our customers prior to them even being customers, before the sale, during the sale, and after the sale, right? Because at the end of the day, as they say, it's cheaper to keep her, right? It's cheaper to keep the clients and use them as a referral network than it is to go out and try and find a new one. Even though for some reason we're all obsessed with trying to find a new one, right? So that's what we're gonna talk about tonight. If you haven't figured it out, the bathroom is just through that door on the left. There's drinks in the fridge, there's snacks. Help yourself, whatever you need. There's all kinds of caffeine from 100 milligrams to 300 milligrams. So whatever it is that you need on a Thursday evening, it's there for you. There's gonna be a lot of interaction. Again, if you haven't been here before, there'll be a lot of interaction. So I'll be asking you guys to write some stuff down specific to your business, and then we'll be sharing back and forth. Again, you're in a room full of contractors only, which is really cool because you can have the same conversation. You don't have the same business, but you probably have a very similar business model. At the end of this, you're gonna have the opportunity to talk to each other, right? Then you can network. But you'll see that there's businesses inside of here that can leverage each other, right? And again, that's the secondary purpose inside of here. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Any questions, actually? Jared, keep your mouth shut. Just kidding. All right. For those of you who don't know me, again, brief intro, most of you do. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Garrett Bake. I've been consulting with businesses, contractors for the last 5 years. If you ask, okay, what's the area of focus? It's two things. It's time and money, right? How do we gain back more time while at the same time making more money, right? That's the game. It's not one or the other, but it's really both, right? So that's really where I have my focus. We run these contractor nights. This is the second one. We've had this space for about 3 months, but this is the second one, and we're gonna be having these once a month. So feel free to come to every single one. Eventually we will fill this room. And feel free to invite your friends, spouses, anybody that you know that is a contractor that could benefit from this. They're more than welcome to come. The next time, probably, this is Coleman, by the way, my camera guy back there. Say hi. Next time, we're actually focused on rigging this thing to where we can live stream it. So if you can't make it, you'll still be able to participate. So. That being said, today we're going to focus on how to build a customer referral machine for life. Now, first question. On a scale of 1 to 10, you're going to rate yourself, right? Scale of 1 to 10. How well do you treat your customers? Scale of 1 to 10. Kind of sounds like marriage, doesn't it? Hey, just call it what it is. Like when I before I got married, my wife's over there in the back. Say hi to my wife. She's the one that makes this whole thing work. When we first got married, you can ask her, I was literally stalking her to get her to go out with me, so obviously that worked. I wouldn't recommend it though. But what happens is you get what you want, the sale, the close, the job, and then what, right? Then you kind of just move on or forget about it until you need to come back to it for some reason, right? So that's what we're focused on avoiding here. How many of you guys like Ben Stiller? All right. I'll show it to you guys afterwards. I got it on the desktop. So do you guys remember in Meet the Parents when he's at the airport and he's trying to get the ticket? And so he goes up to the counter and there's the ticket agent, right? And she's sitting there asking, you want a ticket? And, well, let me see if there is one. And all you hear is her just like clacking away at the computer, right? And he's just like, what's going on? It literally goes for like 30 seconds. And she's like, oh, there's one seat left, right? And it'll be $1,100, right? And it's just like, ugh. And then she's just like, do you want it? And he's like, yeah, right? So he gets the ticket and she just plays around. And then he goes to the gate, right? And he's got his ticket in his hand, he's got his bag, and the terminal's empty. Like there's nobody there except for him, right? And so he walks up and he hands her the ticket, the gate agent. And she's like, I'm sorry, sir, you're gonna have to wait your turn. And he's like, there's nobody here. She's like, I called up to row 9. He's like, yeah, but I'm row 8. And she's like, I didn't call you row, sir. You're going to have to wait. So he takes like 3 steps back, puts his bag down, just sits there and stares at her. And she just looks around, then picks up the phone. Now boarding all gates. And he like walks up and hands her the ticket. And she's like, oh, have a safe flight, right? And walks onto the plane, right? But I wanted to show you that for a reason, because is that the way that we're treating our customers? Is that the way that we're treating our clients? Like they're a commodity. We kind of got spoiled as contractors over the last couple of years, right? What happened to the economy? It took off, right? You could slap a sign on the side of your truck or scribble with crayons, I'm a painter, right? And odds are you probably get a job. Or you'd find a painter who was going to sub out and needed some help, and he would hire you, right? And you guys know because you've seen this. And so has competition increased? Yes, but I don't know if I'd really call it competition. But literally, there's people that are booked out till August. I talked to a plumber on Monday. He's booked out till August, right? A land surveyor that's booked out till September. It's crazy. How far ahead are you guys on your schedule? What's the most important thing to remember, right? It's your customers. Your customers are your most important asset. Why? What do you guys think? Kevin?
You've already paid for them.
You've already paid for them, true, but what else?
And they've had your experience, so they can validate.
They can validate, or they can what?
Market.
Yep, they can market, but what's the opposite? They can make you look 100% bad, right? You can get one positive review, and that's worth, I don't know, maybe 10 points in the world of points. You can get one negative review, and that's like negative 100 points. Always, right? How many of you women like to shop on Amazon? Be honest. What's the first thing you look at on a product?
Reviews.
The reviews, the first thing, right? What are you looking for? You're not looking for the positives. What are you looking for? The dirt. Like, tell me the truth. What's really going on here, right? So again, your customers are your most valuable asset. What's shifting now is the economy. We all know this. You can use the recession word. I don't really care. The truth is we've been in a recession for 6 months anyway, but nobody wants to use that word, right? But the market is shifting. Interest rates are rising. Less people are buying houses. People are holding on to their money. All these things are happening right now. If you haven't experienced it, you will, right? Which puts the focus back on what? Back on these people, because there's going to be more competition for less jobs. So what are you doing to set yourself up for success, right? I call it the give me economy. That was the last couple of years, right? Gimme, 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 gimme. It's just like Ben Stiller with the gate agent. I don't care if you're the only person or if you're the 15th person. We're going to do it when I want to do it. Sound familiar? But what's going to happen is the economy is going to go back to what it was before, right? There's going to be 3 or 4 or 5 people bidding for the same job, right? So again, what makes you different? And I mentioned this already, right? Your reputation is everything. Everything. I will tell you right now, I will not do business with a company that I cannot research. And that's me, but that's also going to be a lot more people. So if you don't have an online presence, if you don't have a reputation, if you don't have people who will vouch for you, i.e. testimonials, then why would somebody want to work with you? Because you got a cute face? Because you work out? Maybe? You got a nice beard? Maybe? I don't know. So what if the opposite happened, right? What if your customers referred for life? Somebody you had 3 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago is still sending people over. I know some of you guys experience referrals on a frequent basis. I know you do, Scott, I know you do, right? But what would that be like if you didn't have to go canvas, knock doors, throw Google ads together, Facebook campaigns? You didn't have to do any of that stuff. It was literally just job to job to job, from customers to customers to customers. How much easier would that make running a business? Oops. So we're going to talk about the customer care cycle. The customer care cycle comes from a book called Never Lose a Customer Again. Can't remember the name of the author, but the book is called Never Lose a Customer Again. If you really want to dive deep into this, it's a really good book, right? And so there's 8 different phases that a customer goes through prior to the sale, during the sale, and after the sale. 8 different phases. And the questions that I want to ask you and really have you write down and analyze is, what are you doing in each of these phases, right? So we're going to go through each of the phases together. I'm going to ask you to write some stuff down. We're going to share some stuff back and forth. But I want you guys to start thinking, what can I do in each of these phases? If I'm not doing anything, I need to do something. If I am doing something, what can I do that could be better? Okay? So the first one, the first phase is assess, right? What would you think assess would be based off the meme? What do you think, Jared? What does assess mean? The first phase is assess. What do you think that means?
To observe and take in where you're at.
Yeah, to become familiar with your environment, right? Think of this, and that's why I put this meme up there. Think of this like dating, right? My wife, the first time I met her, tried to run the other way, right? It was the same thing, like, but I just showed up, I swiped. Like, how come you didn't swipe? They didn't have it back then. But how come you didn't swipe, right? What's the whole purpose of that, right? What's the environment, in other words, that you're creating for your potential customers? This is on the front end. How many of you guys have heard you only get one shot to make a first impression, right? One shot to make a first impression, but one shot to make a good first impression. So what do you look like? What do you act like? How do you show up at that first interaction? Have you guys thought about that? I know a lot of you guys are wearing branded stuff, which is really cool, but are your guys wearing branded stuff, right? Do they show up professional? Do they smell like smoke or worse, weed, right? Are they drunk? You know, all these things happen. I get it, and you guys know it. But what's the consistency that you're showing them? Because they're assessing you from the beginning. Do I want to date this company? It's you and the customer. We'll have another night where we talk about the ideal target audience, right? How do you identify them and how to connect with them? But yeah, this is 100% you showing up for the customer. So we're assuming that you've said, hey, this is the person I want to work with. You're like me stalking my wife. Again, they're assessing you, right? So how are you showing up? What are you showing up like, or what are your people showing up like? Is this a consistent thing, right? How many of you guys have salespeople or door knockers or canvassers, right? There's about half the room inside of here. How many of you guys are practicing with your door knockers, canvassers, so on and so forth, to make sure that they're doing and saying the things that you want them to say? A couple of you, right? So again, if you're going to be adding people to your team and they're going to be out there representing you, what should you do? Make sure that how you're showing up is consistent across the board, right? Whether I send me or I send my number 2 or number 3 or number 8 guy, they all have to show up the same. The next phase, admit. It took like 3 months. Yeah, you can read it. It's kind of funny. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. What is your confession? I'm fat. Right? But what is a confession? Like, why do you go, I'm not Catholic, but I've been to Catholic Mass and church before. Like, why do Catholics go to confession?
Cleanse, man, cleanse.
Yeah, they go there to admit, right? Their sins, their faults, their shortcomings, right? That's what they do, okay? So it's the same thing in the admit phase, right? The number 2 phase is admit. Now you've passed that dating, or that I should say that initial interaction, and I'm going to keep referencing my wife because it's the easiest and pretty accurate. But after a while, she had to admit that she liked me back, right? Like, I like this guy. He's a little weird. I get it. He's kind of stocky, but like, I like this guy. So now they're at this admit phase. What is the admit phase inside of a business? What do you guys think?
Depends where you're at.
Say that a little louder.
Identifying your faults and recognizing them?
Yes, but think from the customer's perspective. So you're in painting, right? Somebody calls you to their house. They're assessing you, right? They're like, okay, I want to have a conversation with this guy. You come back, and now they're going to have a conversation with you about what?
Scheduling. About their job.
Their job. But what is the job?
Painting their house.
Painting their house. So the painting is the solution. What's their problem?
They need paint.
Well, it could be.
Or they don't like the color. There's multiple reasons why.
There's multiple reasons why. Why are you so quiet today?
I don't know.
You're normally louder. I think everybody's tired. It's starting to get warm. This is the admit phase, right? So think about this. Your customers are admitting to you that they what? They need you. They have a problem, and they have a pain associated with that problem. Whether it's a roof or it's paint, it's cleaning, it's locksmith, it doesn't matter what it is. They have a problem, and there's a pain associated with it. Can you guys see this? Okay? You have to get to this point. If you want more customers, you have to understand that just showing up is not going to solve their problems. Right? You're not Superman or Batman, although some of you want to be. This is really about understanding what is their problem and what is the pain associated. Concrete. Why do they call you?
They want to replace something, or they want to expand something, they want a new landscape.
They're tired of the dust, like,
All kinds of stuff.
it is all kinds of stuff, but it's different for every customer. There might be some that are the same, but every customer is going to come at you at a different angle, right? So your job is to understand what is their problem, to get them to admit their problem, right? Because if they don't admit they have a problem, are they looking for a solution? Yes. So I'm going to go back to this really quick. Where is it? Right? So you had them confess that they had a problem, right? And this guy's problem is he's fat. Probably the wrong place to admit that you're fat, right? But how many of you guys have struggled with weight, right? What's the first thing you got to do when you go talk to a trainer or a doctor or whatever?
Get on the scale.
You have to admit that you have a problem, right? But then when the doctor or the trainer or whoever's talking about the solution to the problem, right? The solution to your pain, what's going through your mind? Will this what?
Work.
Will this work for
Me.
For me? Will this work for me? Guess what's going through your client's head or potential client's head? The same question, will this work for me? Will you do a good job painting? Will you do a good job roofing? Will you do a good job with the concrete? Will you do a good job cleaning? They're asking themselves this question without asking the question, right? Sometimes they ask the question, and how do they ask the question? Do you have any what? References, referrals. Can I talk to one of your past clients? Can you show me some of your jobs? Have you guys experienced this before? Right? It happens. So how do we overcome this? What do you guys think? Julie, how do we overcome it?
Prove everything.
Prove it? I like that. Do you have to wait for them to ask the question to show them the result? No, you don't. Right? If you're doing your marketing correctly, you're dating correctly, right? What are you doing on the front end? You're answering their potential objections before the objections come out. How many of you guys, when you schedule an estimate, prior to that estimate, send the client some kind of a video, email, a text message, some kind of package that talks about some of the jobs that you've done or contains some testimonials from some past clients?
I do that after our estimate. I'll have that in the package we send for the estimate.
That's what I do too.
Okay, not a bad place to have it. But what would it be like if prior to them ever meeting you, they got these things?
I like it.
Right? Again, what are you setting yourself up for? Success or failure?
Success.
Success ahead of time, right? That's what this is about. How many of them have money issues? Like they always want to talk price. A lot of people, right? Some people are like, hey man, whatever, I don't care, just make it happen. But some of them, a lot of them want to talk price. How do you overcome that ahead of time? What do you guys think? Yeah, that's good. How many of you guys offer financing? A couple of you guys. How many of you guys work with insurance? A couple of you guys, right? How many of your clients know that you do these things? Because you what? Because you tell them, right? Right. So are you, again, overcoming these objections before they ever come up? Right? One of the things that I ask when people schedule a call with me is literally, if somebody told you that you had to invest $25,000 to improve your business in your life, and you had the money and resources to do it, would you do it? I'm closing them before I ever have a conversation with them. Because if the answer is no, how do you think that conversation is going to go? It's not going to go very well, right? They're not saying that they're going to do business with me, right? But they're saying that they have the means to do business with me. Does that make sense? You can ask a question? Okay, so I want you guys to take a second, write down what you guys can do to, prior to ever meeting with your potential clients, affirm with them that you're the person for the job, that you have the experience, that you have the expertise, that you have prior customers or people who've experienced your product or service that you can share with them. Got it. All right, so we're going to actually talk about Ryan and Jared real quick. And feel free to, this you'll get some reflection back into your business, but if you have ideas for them, by all means, share with them. So Ryan and Jared just started a new program for their cleaning service. So it's like a whole home service. So instead of having to call a house cleaner, having to call sprinkler repair, having to call your window cleaner, having to call house cleaner, everything. What? Go ahead.
And we don't deal with locks and security, so recommend him, and we don't deal with painting, so we recommend him.
Yeah.
So it's more than just that.
So basically, think of property management for your home, right? That this is their service. But the issue is that nobody knows about the service because it's a new service. It's never existed before, right? So what could they do to overcome the, well, I already have a landscaper, or I already have a window washer, I already have this, with their new model, which is basically set it and forget it. Like, sign up for us, you're paying a monthly service, we'll set everything for you, you don't have to worry about it.
One-stop shop.
Okay, but how do they overcome the issue that they know is going to come up?
Identify the aspects that they're not already being met and fill those needs. And okay, you already have window washer, great. If he ever goes away, then we would love to step in.
Yeah.
Okay?
Offer different packages. So, you already have a window cleaner, but we do home and your yard. If you don't have that, we can provide that. We have a different level for that if you don't want that package involved.
Okay.
Well,
What
you
else?
read your name out there, though. I mean, with those descriptions, though, like, so, like, we use the hometown values every March to launch our year. I mean, if you take out like a 1/3 section of the advertise, the advert, and then describe everything that you guys do in that, I mean, they hit Boise Eagle, CUNA, Meridian, which one location is this? Hometown values. Amy Menser is the lady who owns it.
So you guys are all in the right area, right? But I want you to think back to what we were talking about before, right? Which is the problem and the pain associated with it. Why would I want a service that allows me to set it and forget it when it comes to house cleaning, windows, sprinklers, all that good stuff? Why would I want that?
You wouldn't have to call anybody to schedule anything. We'll take care of that for you.
Okay. What else?
Because you're busy, so others have.
What else? You guys are going down the right path now.
Provides value and gets you more time back for your stuff.
Ah, there you go.
But they gotta be able to find you.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to do online presence. You have to do some kind of search words.
Right.
So if people are Googling you, they'll go right to you.
Right.
Well, you're gonna have to be in all those categories.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
you can do all that. You can fill those keywords if you pay. Well, like we pay for someone specifically for certain markets, for certain keywords, for certain things and aspects of our job. So we try to maintain a top to be like one of the top 3. If anybody's Googling, we want to be in the top 3 of the
Search.
companies that shows up in the
Yep.
search. And we constantly have to, I pay a guy just to refresh our photos, refresh our info, just to make sure that we're staying consistently up there. Because if you don't refresh that stuff, you'll fall below that. And then
Yeah.
if you fall below that, it affects your, we get a lot of online hits.
Yeah, and that's really good. But I want you to think you're past that phase, so now they've called you, right? But before you're going out to their house, again, it's time. It's the stress of having to call somebody, right? It's I'm too busy, right? It's all these different things. That's what you guys need to be presenting as your message prior to ever showing up at the house, right?
Manage it for you, and we will do quality control on all those aspects. Because all those aspects, from gardeners to housekeepers, you get them a month later, 2 months later, falls off. You're looking for another one.
Yep.
How much time
They
do
get
you
your
get?
job and they start.
Yep.
We're gonna keep track and make sure that they're giving the same quality all the way
Yep.
through.
And you can regain your life. You can do what you want to do because we're good.
Well, it's avoiding costly expenses too.
Yeah, 100%, right?
Time is the biggest.
It's time, it's reliability, it's having to find a new person, it's having to put it on the schedule, it's remembering it, but then you forget it, like all of those things, right? So that's your message. Somebody says, yeah, sure, we want you to come out to our house to talk about this. Your message prior to getting there has to overcome those objections because you know they're coming. You guys have mentioned that. Why would I go with you? I already have a landscaper. I already have a house cleaner. I already, right? So you have to be able to answer those questions before you ever get there. Because if you do it when you get there, what are you doing now? You're fighting an uphill battle, right? Hey, this sounds really cool, but I don't need it because I have this already, right? Exactly. But if you can solve the problem ahead of time, address the problem ahead of time, then they're not going to have that problem or that issue when you have the conversation about the program. Does that make sense? So again, it needs to be fleshed out a little more, but that's where we're going with this. Who else struggled with this one a little bit? Nobody wants to admit. Nobody wants to raise their hand. How many of you are sending out something ahead of time?
Oh, I do all the values.
Yeah, there's some advertising stuff.
I'll get a Google Meet invite for
How many of you guys send out something like, here's what to expect? You do?
Usually if it's via text, because we get a lot of calls and we're doing an estimate, I don't have anything automated or anything like that. Like I just text them and I let them know what the estimate entails, how long he needs to be there, that they don't need to be available, and what he's looking for. That he's looking, do we charge by pane? And it depends on the size, window type, accessibility, and level of cleaning needed, and it varies. And if they want like a range, I give them like price. But I typically have like a little spiel so they know what to expect. Because some people think we're gonna be there for like an hour.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, we're in and out 5 minutes. This is what to expect.
Yeah.
So I usually put that.
That's good. That's really good. How many of you guys have ever had a windshield replaced? How many of you guys ever used Safe Light? What does Safe Light do? Yeah, everybody remembers the jingle. They got that jingle rammed into your mind. Okay, so they send out, they confirm it, right? Then they send out email. Then they send out text messages, right? Then they say, we're on our way, and your tech is going to be Adam, right? Right? So you know who's showing up, you know when they're showing up, like all of these things ahead of time. How does that make you feel? Warm and fuzzy and comfortable, right? Uber, you know who your driver is, you know what kind of car he's driving, like all this stuff is done ahead of time. Why do companies do that though?
Makes you feel more comfortable with the process.
Exactly. The process, the product, the business. Exactly.
Sense of control.
100%. 100%.
Time.
Again, right? You're affirming to them that they made the right decision ahead of time, right? Adam's going to show up. Adam shows up. Whew, that's cool. I like that, right? Adam's going to show up. Christy shows up. What the? I thought Adam was supposed to. You see what I mean? Like now there's like, whoa, hey, what's going on here? Any questions on this? Okay. Next phase. Guess what happens? Congratulations, you got the job, right? So there's a sale, and we all get super happy when the sale happens, right? Who doesn't get happy when the sale happens? Leave. Just kidding. Right? We get excited when a sale happens. But how many of you complete the job right when you do the sale? How many of you complete the job within a day of the sale? Yep, you're quick. You're quick as well. How many of you within a week? How many of you takes 2 to 3 weeks? How many of you takes more time than that, right? So there's an issue that we have to deal with, right? And the issue is there's a time gap between when the sale happens and when the job gets complete. It's not like you're going to the grocery store, you buy the bread, give them money, and you're done, right? There's a time gap. So what are we doing with that time gap, right? So the next phase is activate, right? Congratulations, thank you, shake, sign the dotted line, give a deposit, whatever it is, right? Now we're activating, right? So what is the first interaction that they get post-sale? Again, there's that gap, right? So what's the first interaction that your clients get post-sale?
We send a welcome email, let
Okay.
them know that we need to get their colors all dialed in. That's the next stage. Then after that, we'll get them on the calendar so we can prep them so know when we're going to be out to paint.
Okay, all right. Scott, what about you? Post-sale.
Depends on the client or the side of the job, but typically concrete side, once we close the deal, they go through the estimate, they sign it. Once we get the signature, then we let them know where they're at on the calendar, and we give them the estimated time frame of when the job's gonna start.
And what if it's a 3-month window? What do you do in those 3 months?
What do you mean?
Is there any communication or contact with the client?
It depends. That's one thing that we can always be a little bit better on, but usually my secretary, when I remember or somebody refreshes us, she'll technically will send out an email to all the customers if there's like been delays, because like the weather obviously affects us a lot. We've had a staffing issue this year, it's been really hard. So that's something we definitely improve on, but it has happened, it does happen.
Okay, so there's something there. How many of you guys do send something out between the sale and the actual job being completed? What do you do?
I call or text them, let them know, because with heavy equipment moving it around, if I can be there tomorrow, there's usually a problem. So it's usually a few weeks to a month out. Then once we get within a week, give them a heads up, make sure your pool's down, make sure the driveway's empty, or the fences, do you want me to take it down, you take it down. And then we get down within the last 48 hours, like, okay, nothing's changed, we're still going, I'm gonna be here. And then just start opening up the communication, starting about a week out, and unless there's some long lead items. If we're putting in some crazy pump or a pool or whatever, then obviously that's out of whether they're providing it, we're providing it. All that coordination where I'm not there with all my guys ready to go do the stuff and we can't do anything because it's still on a boat. So, but yeah, just trying to wind down until it's actual go time.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
Personal and, phone calls, text messages.
So I want you guys to think of one or two things, take a second and write down one or two things that you can do to improve your activation phase. In other words, the time between the sale getting closed and you actually completing the work. What can you do to improve that, right? Is it you just tack them on to a monthly email list and they get a newsletter once a month? Is it that you have your secretary or your office manager or your VA just send out a message saying, hey, we just want to let you know that things are still on target, that will be there, on this date, right? What is it that you can start to do to make sure that you're properly communicating with people? All right, who wants to share their one or two things? No, go ahead, Kevin.
So I just put down that we need to schedule a text and an email between signing and starting. So we have a delayed text that we can set up.
There you go.
And just put in mid timeline.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Leverage automation, right? It's really cool. You guys can do it with your Facebook posts. You can do it with your email. How many of you guys use Gmail? Did you know you can schedule posts? You can schedule emails out, right? So like there's technology out there that you can start to use if it's not one of the other programs that are out there. You can use technology as your friend. It's not like you have to remember, oh, wait, I've got Adam coming up. I should probably leverage technology. So that's great. What about you?
That's kind of what I put down. I can't remember the name of it right now, but there's a scheduling software that sends out a text an hour before we're coming, and then you can actually interact with your technician or whoever's coming out. Can't remember the name of it, but I just wrote
Does anybody remember it? There's a lot of them.
There's like 3 of them.
Yeah, House Call Pro is a good one. Yeah, I think Jobber might do it too. Not sure, but yeah, 100%. Right? Is find the technology that works with what you're doing. What the worst thing, and you guys have experienced this, the worst thing that can happen is a lack of communication. Right? It's like I bought the thing, and where is the thing? Right? And now, if you think about it though, online companies like Amazon, UPS, they handle that too. What do you get? Tracking. You get tracking, you get notifications. Oh, my package has been delivered, right? So they're communicating with you, they're leveraging technology. But the worst thing you can do is where is my package? And you have no way of figuring it out. So what do? You dig through your emails, you try and find a phone number. Maybe they sent me a tracking number, maybe it went to my junk mail. You're wasting time, right? And so you're frustrating the customer if you're not doing that proper communication. Again, super simple. Schedule it out or pick up the phone, right? Put it on the schedule. Hey, we're going to call. We're going to update, let you know what's happening. Hey, there's a delay because of weather or because of supplies or whatever. Again, be proactive about this stuff. All right, the next phase, acclimate. I love that movie. This is kind of linked to the previous phase, right? You want them to understand what the process is going to be like, right? What is it? Do they need to move furniture? Do they need to move equipment? Do they need to move toys? Are they going to be able to stay in the house or do they need to leave? Is this going to be in the morning or the afternoon? What is happening or what is going to happen that they need to be made aware of? Sometimes you'll get clients, You have a perfect example of this. Sometimes you get clients that have these weird requests, but if you haven't taken time ahead of time to figure out what those are, it's really hard to try and make sure that you're handling those. You want to share your story? It's very unique.
We painted a horse property, and at the time we did the estimate, she didn't have horses, so we were slated to come out a couple weeks ago, and about a week prior, she let us know she has geriatric horses, which means they're basically retired, they can't be ridden or anything like that. She has never owned a horse in her life, so she did not know what it entailed to own these horses, and I hate horses, so she let us know that they can only be out in the pasture for 4 hours a day. And we were painting her barn and shed and the house. We're doing a lot of carpentry on it as well. But so I promised her the unrealistic expectations and said we'd be there at 7, and we'd have the horses back in the barn by noon. Well, my guys didn't show up till 8:30, and so it just lit this fire up. And at the end of the day, we made it right, but it was very frustrating because I didn't know the stages that needed to be set in place, and now we know about horse.
Right, but that's a complete out of left field, right? So again, if we're communicating, has anything changed, right? Is there anything new that we need to worry about? And so again, depending on what your business is, you're going to ask questions specific to what it is that you're doing. Does that make sense? All right, the next phase, accomplish. What do you think that means? You got the job done. Congratulations. Changing locks, cleaning windows, digging out holes, pouring concrete. You got the job done. Congratulations. Now what? How many of you guys, after you collect that final check, turn around and say, see you later?
Send them a Google review.
Okay, Google review. Who else does something post-sale? What do you do?
Send a Google review. I usually will just send an email thanking them for their time.
Our technician follows up a couple days after, then we also offer, oh, by the way, we have these other services as well.
We do a final walk.
Just recently, we've started sending out handwritten thank you cards.
We have a thank you text and email that comes up.
Follow-up email, make sure that they're happy with how things are going.
Get him a key lime pie. And
I saved him for last for a reason, right? Think about this. How many of your answers were catered to what you wanted? I want a Google review. I want this. I want that. I want reviews or referrals. I want. How many of you guys are giving before you're asking? Right? There's a reason that accomplish comes before. I haven't even talked about referrals yet. Have you guys noticed that? We're 6 phases in. We haven't talked about referrals. Why? We're not there yet. It doesn't matter yet. Right? My wife bought a new vehicle. Do you know how many phone calls, text messages, anything that she got after she bought the vehicle? Zero. Until she had an issue with the vehicle. And even then, it wasn't until the 3rd time she took it back, brand new vehicle, separate story. 3rd time she took it back before she had the general manager, the area manager, texting her and calling her and see, are you okay? Is everything all right? 3 times taking it back to the shop. Do you think we're ever going to buy a car from there again? Never. Do you think we're ever going to recommend somebody buys a car from there? Never. Right? So if you don't get past this phase, forget about the referral. Forget about the 5-star Google review. Some of you guys that work with me, what do you get when you sign up?
T-shirts, books.
T-shirts and books. You got a package, right?
Yeah.
And there was different things inside the package. There was books, there was shirts, there was journals, there was all these different things, right? Because I want to make sure that the first experience that you get from me is a positive one. It's a giving one, not a taking one, right? You're already uncertain on this whole thing because it's a significant investment. But I want to make you feel like you made the right investment, right? So what are you doing? I want you to take a second to write this down. What are you doing to make the post-sale or job completion a positive one? How do they become raving fans, right? What are we doing for them after the job gets done? All right. I'm going to ask each of you to give me one thing. If you don't have one thing, the rest of you can kind of fill in and give them some ideas. So Adam, we'll start with you. One thing.
Well, I give out like it's a little promotional thing, but it's like a doggy walk bag so they can carry their keys on it. It has my information on it. That's cool.
Okay. Doggy walk bag.
We're talking about, on small jobs. On big jobs, I always give part of the job to them.
What does that mean?
Lock, or I upgrade it to something better. So I always try to add a little bit extra to it.
I like that. You're sweetening the pot for sure. But what else could you do after a big job?
Thank you card for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not doing a thank you card now, it's 100%. That would be a huge upgrade. And I like the handwritten thing. Which, by the way, how many of you guys know that there's technology now that makes it look handwritten? You can literally contract with a company.
What's the name of it?
Oh, dude, there's a ton of them. When I was in California a few months ago, my buddy took me to this facility. They mail out all the mailers for, auto warranty and home warranty and all these different things, but they also do thank you cards. And there's literally rows of machines with real pens writing. And so they get your handwriting sample, so they'll have you write it, they digitize it, and then the machine writes it.
So you don't want anybody to be able to read it?
It's your handwriting? Probably not, right? But it's a real thing, right? And so they perceive it as being real. Anyway, I wouldn't recommend doing that. But point is something as simple as a thank you card means something, right? Okay, what about you? One thing.
Key lime pie.
No. You're already doing key lime pie.
Oh, we were supposed to add?
Yes, yes. You guys are like, this is easy. I'm already doing something. I'm going to come back to you. If you're already doing something, you got to think of something new. I'm going to challenge you.
What are we doing or what can we do?
What can you do?
I like the idea of 2 weeks later, out of nowhere, we send them send out cards with some brownies or something.
Cool.
I like that.
Yeah, super simple. It doesn't have to be expensive, by the way, right? It just has to be something.
No, I haven't got nothing.
You got nothing?
No.
All right.
Yeah, but I want
Idea time.
Give me
Julie?
ideas.
Well, we already offer a 1-year post-inspection, but we could send a thank you card with a gift card for dinner. Or,
Yeah.
Something, reprieve, maybe earplugs.
It could be. Yeah, something, I don't know, right? It could be something like that. You got to think. It could be, by the way, it could be gimmicky. It could be fun. We've all received something like that. But it also could be, something of value. I will tell you, don't do, I'm working with this company right now, and their welcome thank you gift, what was it? It was literally like was it wood?
It was supposed to be a manly looking thing because it's a guy thing.
It was like
It's a girl
it was like a cheetah, like a wooden cheetah, but it was not very, and I'm like, first of all, they don't talk about cheetahs or in their program. It was just this random thing that showed up, and it just left me with my head scratching. And now we're going to use it as a white elephant present, so it's staying in the garage. So I apologize to any of you guys if you come to my party. But that's the point. It's like there was nothing there. They tried to give a gift, but it didn't mean anything to me, right? So we'll think about something for you. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm already doing the thank you cards. I don't really.
All right. This is going to happen for a few of you, and that's okay. I'll talk about it here at the end. What do you got?
I was leaning towards thank you card too. I didn't have any creative.
Okay. All right. What do we got?
Currently, most of my clients become friends, so I invite them to a car show or dinner.
Hey, there we go.
But I would like to add handwritten thank you cards.
Okay. Okay.
Handwritten cards, but what I've received either a coffee card, but there's a little cardboard inspirational. Pop it. I don't know. It's a little fold. I don't know what the term is, but it has uplifting sayings, and I've received those, and that always like, ooh, what's this? And it's like a fortune cookie, but it's easy to mail too. But
Yeah.
it has a lot of
There's so many things, and thank you for bringing that up. I'm just going to say one of the things now. There's so many things out there that you can do for gifts. Google it. Like my wife, for example, for her birthday, I got her it's cake in a box or something like that. Don't go crazy. No, it's actually a company in Australia. So you open it up, and out pop these they're wound with rubber bands, but like these butterflies and this like glittery stuff. And there's a little cake in there too, but like the surprise is you open the box and poof, this thing like pops open everywhere. It's really cool, right? But it's something unique. Like, could you send something like that, right? So I want you guys to start thinking outside the box. You want your clients and your customers to remember you because eventually you're going to ask for what? referrals, but what are you doing so that they remember you? What do you got?
I definitely will add the handwritten cards versus the emails. It depends usually on the client also, I mean, on scale.
100%. If you're spending like a $500 job, handwritten note, right? If you're doing a $300,000 job,
Right, dinner to jam or something.
yeah, up the game. Up the game.
I mean, I like a lot of the ideas, but I mean, a lot of the stuff that pertains with my customers, it's more, I think, the follow up with like the care package of how to maintain all the stuff like we planted,
Mhm.
or the concrete, how to properly, make sure, post curing periods, things
Yeah.
like that.
Well, landscaping concrete, there's companies out there that you can buy bulbs, plants, or whatever. And so you can be like, hey, as a thank you gift, here's some flowers that you can plant in your yard.
That we just planted for them. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. Ideas, bro. I'm just throwing ideas out there. Why you got to knock me down?
A complimentary plant.
Yeah.
We throw a plant in of your choosing your favorite,
Yeah, whatever it is.
like the thing
Yeah.
your grandpa used
Mm,
to
That's not
love.
right? And so, by the way, there's ways to kind of cheat the system. So you can do like a survey prior to the job and ask them specific questions of like, okay, I'm doing landscaping. What's your favorite plant? Right? And they tell you, okay, boom, now you can customize that gift. Does that make sense? So this is a game you're going to have to play proactively, because if you play it right, again, are you kidding me? My landscape guy actually sent me my wife's favorite roses. I'm going to recommend him to everybody. See what I mean? All right, Julie, what did you say you guys do or going to do?
Well, we do 1 year post-roof inspection.
Okay.
I think sending out something quirky, because I mean, it's roofing, it's the most.
And you're quirky.
In the, yeah.
Your son's like, yep, that's her.
But
Like what? Think about it.
I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
For those of you that know Julie, what do you think?
I like the cake thing.
The cake thing is cool.
Pie,
No, I'm not gonna take that. Key lime pie sucks.
Oh, oh,
I've never had one
oh.
person say that. It's boggling to me because I don't like key lime pie.
She likes it. Now you're going to have to give her a key lime pie.
Yeah, I like key lime pie.
Right, but it is. You guys need to find the thing, right? This is what my company's known for. It's line painting, which is why it's a key lime pie, right? But like that's the thing, and then they get pictures with you holding your key lime pie, right? It's kind of fun. It's kind of different. All right.
That's real? I thought it was kind of a joke.
Oh no, it's real. You got to show them a picture when we're done.
That's legit.
It's legit, like literally a key lime pie.
Running jokes. I'm like, okay.
You're like,
They're really getting this one.
yeah, you're like, those guys are weird.
Right, so,
I'm gonna take a picture and send it to you guys. Just to be like, is he really mean? Oh yeah, I got it.
but I was just thinking
Yeah.
about that.
I like that, right? But I see how your guys' heads are spinning, right? And you're starting to see ideas. You're starting to write, oh, that's a good idea. Maybe I should do that, right? There's no right or wrong answer, by the way, in this game. You just need to start doing something, right? And something that means something. Me getting a cheetah tells me that they don't know me and it really doesn't matter, right? So ask yourself, what is it that your clients would like? What is it that you could be known for, right? Like the key lime pie.
I came up with one, but you didn't come back to me.
Oh, all right. I'll come back to you.
I'm going to take Julie's and I'm going to offer 6-month inspections.
Oh, there you go.
So make sure that we're still watertight.
I like it. Boom. Very cool. Very cool.
Do I need to move mine to 6 months?
I'm gonna find out what their fans are. Send them a key.
A what?
Your warranty personalized key.
A key.
Fan of
Oh,
Disneyland,
there you go.
I'll get you a Disney key. If you're a hunter, I'll send them a hunter.
How much will that cost you?
$4,
Yeah.
$5. There's a bunch of companies that do that.
Yeah.
And they'll have to call me to come cut it. And I'll come out and cut it for them. Get another touch.
There you go. There you go. Now you're thinking, right? So you start to think outside the box. You could even speed up that process, and ahead of time, you ask them, okay, hey, do you have a favorite sports team, a favorite activity, a favorite something?
I have to have a pretty big stock for that because a lot of times I'm going there in 30 minutes.
Oh, all right, never mind.
It's an idea.
All right. I don't know. Maybe you got this like, you're like the watch guy in New York. Yeah. What do you want? I got it all. Rolex, I got one of those, right? So, good idea. All right, the next phase is adopt, right? What does the word adopt mean? You can see from the picture there, right? It's Godfather, right? Welcome to the family. You want to adopt them into your family. You want them to be part of Legacy Locksmith. You want them to be part of Line Painting, part of Bluebird, right? Part of the family. Because what do you do with family other than fight? Don't go there.
Referral.
Sorry, I had a question.
Yes.
I put the kind of the welcome to the club type welcoming packet that we do as part of the activate. When we activate them, then it's like you're onboarding them, you're getting into the process. This is what you can expect from us. This is what we expect, and this is how it's going to roll. So the welcome to the family thing is like, to me, is during the activating stage.
It could be, right? Your model is different, right? So you're going to touch them multiple times throughout the year, probably 12 to 15 times. So that makes sense, right? And again, that's what I do too, is right at the beginning, like they get something, right? And they'll get something in between, right? But that's the most important one, is right at the beginning. Welcome to the family. So yeah, 100%. You can do that. Now, again, these are the phases, and it doesn't mean that like you have to wait 2 weeks or a month. Yeah, right? You just need to make sure that you're going through all of these phases. That's what's the most important thing. Okay, so again, adopt, welcome to the family, right? You're adopting them into your family. So what do you do, like if you had a child and you adopted the child into your family, how would you treat that child?
Loving and caring.
Yeah, you would care about them, right? You would check in on them. You would make sure that they're okay, right? So how many of you guys are following up with past clients? Not to try and get a referral, but to say, hey, how's that lawn treating you, right? Or hey, how's that concrete working, right? Or hey, how's your house looking? Like, are you happy with the results, right? This is follow-up on the back end. What are we doing on that back end, right? You want them to start to adopt your brand as part of their life. That's the key, right? So we talk about, Jared, you, for example, you can do a Ring doorbell. But the truth is, a Ring doorbell is not going to get you where you want to go, right? So you're going after the bigger jobs, right? So how do you make them part of your family? How many of you guys send any kind of like postcard with your family for Christmas? Spring. At any time during the year. Yeah, right? You send something. Why do you send that?
Thank you, greeting.
Yeah, thank you, greeting. But you want them to know that, like, hey, we're real people, and I have a family, and here's my wife, and here's my kids, right? I love Star Wars, I love fighting and punching people in the face. Don't fight this guy, he's a big guy. And now he's got stamina, right? But what are you doing to make them feel like they're part of the family? It could be with some swag. It could be with a key lime pie, right? Again, combine some of these things. It could be a card, like explaining your story, how you got to where you are, things like that. But how are you making them part of the family? Because if somebody's family, you're going to go above and beyond to what? To do something for them, right? To make sure they're taken care of, right? So you're welcoming them into your family. Because ultimately, what is it we want?
We want to see them again, too.
You want them to become the advocate, right? You want them to do what? To be your wingman. Everybody loves. Who has not seen the new Top Gun? What?
Oh my gosh, so good.
All right, after we're done here, we're going to go to the movie theater and watch Top Gun. It is not just of the year, like, it is so good. Now, here, hold on. Watch what just happened between him and I. What do we do with the movie?
You just advocated.
We just advocated for the movie, right? Now, you guys subconsciously don't realize what they did with the movie, for those of you who are movie fans, but what did they do? They've been building up this movie for a while, nostalgic from your childhood. Like if you,
emotional tie.
oh yeah, exactly, right? There's that emotional tie, so you feel like you're part of the family. See how this all fits together, right? So now, what was that? Oh, 100%. Right at the beginning of the movie, we're going to spoil the movie for you. Tom Cruise just sits there. No, we're not spoiling the movie. But he sits there and he thanks you for watching the movie. When's the last time you watched a movie where somebody thanked you for watching their movie? You see what I mean? And so now, this subconscious obligation that we have, oh, you haven't seen Top Gun, you have to go see it. How many of you guys now want to go watch it? A couple of you. You're like, still don't want to watch it. Oh, wow. Hey, come on.
It was like a great running.
Yeah, joke's over. Take her. But again, like we want our clients to become part of the family, right? The question that you have to ask yourself is, if you've done all 7 stages up until now, you shouldn't have to ask for a referral. You shouldn't have to ask for a referral, which is just like what we were just talking about with Top Gun. You didn't have to ask us what the movie was like. We're going to openly tell you. We're going to throw up on you and talk about all the cool airplanes and the cool maneuvers and this and that. Like after the movie, and I don't ever do this, after the movie I was literally like Googling like, can airplanes really do this? Like it was, I'm sure you did too, right? You're like, I want to see some videos of some really cool airplanes doing some really cool stuff.
Great balls of fire.
Yeah, yeah, right? So again, if we're done our job the right way, we're not asking for referrals. What are they doing? They're referring to us, right? And so I know you get some referrals right now. Who else gets referrals here? How many of you would like more referrals? No, not me, right? But this is the process for actively getting more referrals, right? Now when you get to this point, if you've done a good job, your client becomes an extension of your marketing department. You may not have a marketing department. Congratulations, you have one now, right? Anytime somebody asks for a locksmith, you're the only person they're going to think of. If they ask for a painter, if they ask for a roofer, so on and so forth. Does that make sense? So this is what we're after. So again, the 8 phases that we go through. This is the customer care cycle. Yes, they were all A's if you guys didn't notice. If you didn't have a chance to write them down, write them down. I'll send you guys kind of a little cheat sheet that you can have for yourselves and your business. But my challenge to you is to take this and apply it, right? In every single one of these phases, just find something. Just start doing something. And then every 6 months or every year, re-examine it. Hey, my business has grown. The types of jobs that I do are bigger. What's something different, better, special that we can do to continue acquiring more clients? Because what's going to happen in this economy, like I said, it's going to change. And people are going to start digging, and they're going to start digging into you, and they're going to start digging into your customers and your clients, and they're going to start asking questions. What are the responses that they're going to be getting? If you've done your job by the advocate phase, they'll be asking you, hey, what can I do for you? I mean, you've done this incredible job for us and our family. I appreciate you. Thank you. My house looks amazing. It's beautiful. What can I do for you? Hey, it'd be really nice if you could do a Google review. Oh, yeah, sure. Send me the link. Hey, if you know anybody who's looking to get their house painted, let me know. Oh, yeah, my cousin Vinny, right? You like that movie reference, huh? Right? But that's the point. The point is you want to get to the stage where they're asking you what they can do for you. They're part of the family. They're your advocates. They want you to win. Any questions on any of this? Okay, last thing. Let's boil this thing down. One thing. What is the one thing you need to do to improve your customer care cycle? If nothing else changes other than one thing, what is that one thing that's going to change everything? All right, we'll start with Ryan. One thing.
Well, I'm kind of mad at myself because in my office I have service first builds relationships that last. And I feel like after going through this, I have that whole, what can you do for me? We're doing this service for you, but what can you do for me to get the Google review? What can you give me? And I'm kind of mad. I'm like, we just need to serve. We need to serve better.
Okay, so what's the one thing you're going to change? What's the one thing you're going to do?
I'm going to be a giver instead of a taker.
Okay.
With that client. So I don't know what that means yet.
All right, my challenge for you is figure out what that thing is.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, I'm like, okay, number 4. I'm like, number 2. Number 1. I mean, if we're at an 8 or a 9, I mean, we should start at number 1, fix that first, and set ourselves up for success, and then go to number 2, then go to number 3. I want to start at 4, but a little bit of number one, definitely number two.
Okay. So what's the thing? Like what specifically? And this is coming for all of you, right?
So
What's that one specific thing?
So you can get to the customer's house, you're laser focused on the problem, and you don't see, especially with what we do a lot. So I gotta like take the blindness off.
Open your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ask a lot of questions.
Situational awareness.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
It's all about. Scott, what do you got?
Right away, I walked right in and immediately identified, because we have such a gap between our schedule, and it takes so long between the time that we close the job and then by the time we even get to the job. Like I said, I've got jobs that are already into winter. I got to figure a way to keep that communication with the customer in between that time frame.
Yeah.
And then I really did like the post follow-up stuff. So I want to actually focus on those two things, actually. Well, at least my secretary's going to focus on those two things. But
Yeah, it doesn't have to be you, by the way. If you have a team, use your team. But
yes,
yeah.
those are the things I like the most.
Awesome. Thank you. Jared?
Mine's very similar. Be more just servant-minded, but yeah, just greater customer communication just throughout. Just having more of a system in place, routines and such.
I like it. I like it. Julie?
I really like the gift week later.
I'm excited to see what it is.
Yeah. I am too.
We'll figure it out. It'll be like the middle of the night. You'll wake up. I've got it. Awesome. Adam?
Well, I gave myself a 9, so I'm going to go with the follow-up is what I really need to do. Afterwards, I need to thank them, because that is something, because I'm doing so many.
How are you going to thank them?
Well, I'm going to thank them with cards.
Okay.
Which I've been putting out for sure.
Perfect.
I'm going to thank them with a small gift. I like the idea.
Okay.
I'm going to figure out a way to make that work.
Yeah, I like it. By the way, don't make this something that's like going to take more time and effort away from you, right? A handwritten note is very simple. You can get that done in 30 seconds, right? If you're searching for keys, love the idea, but you got to think like, oh crap, now I got to find, if I have 20 jobs in a week, I got to find 20 different keys. How long is it going to take to get in? Now I have to follow up. So now your mind is...
Maybe I'll give a gift at the end when I walk out. Hey, this is my options. Come and pick what you would like out of this.
Yeah, you could. Or again, you just create a legacy locksmith like gift pack, whatever it is.
Customized key that says Legacy Locksmith.
Yeah.
There you go. Isn't that then
Advertising.
again?
I don't know.
Constant
It's a
advertising.
gift.
It's a
I
gift.
advertise key lime and
Yeah,
I hear you. It's a good
something
idea.
along that.
Put their name on it.
Yeah, you could put their last name on it. Anyway,
Mine's the same as Scott's. From the time that they sign to the time that we show up, I need to get more proactive in that timeline of being communicative to them and starting that relationship building.
yeah, that's awesome. What do you got?
A little similar. I'm going to focus on setting up that scheduling software. That way it's kind of all automated. Like I'm starting to communicate better, but I'm not just like, because I kind of do it already, but I'm just texting. I'm like, hey, we're on our way.
Yeah.
Blah, blah.
Yeah, leverage technology, because as you grow, it's going to be harder and harder to do that. Which, by the way, you guys will get each other's contact information when we're all done. So if you can remember what that software is,
It's
we'll...
called WorkIs.
Work is?
and
Okay, there you go.
Java and how's it called?
Work is what it's called.
Work is easy. I think.
Or work is, maybe it's work is easy. Okay, anyway, do your Googles.
I love the thank you gift idea. I can't believe I never thought of it. I've been doing it for so long, and like just the whole like thank you so much. Can you review us? Is it like I was like, oh my gosh, it's also embarrassing. So I'm doing a booth at that block party thing at the end of the month, and I was brainstorming with the print shop about different things to do, and she had the idea to do like a little personalized squeegee with MCF when I was getting on it, and I didn't get it for the event, but I just thought here, I'm like, it would be kind of fun to leave something like that. Like, I don't want it to be useless, but I want it to be relevant and like kind of fun and something
Yep.
they might use, but something that like, oh yeah, I know them, and just something special. So, and, yeah, yeah.
Like I got a plunger at the last booth event, and
Yeah.
that's my plumber guy now. Like, do you need a plumber? Like the plunger or the plungers?
I should have got
Yeah.
it.
It's all right, but
Yeah.
from here on out, like we got something. Top Gun is number one. What's the second thing?
Well, as we're talking about this, I'm starting to think of when I had services done of receiving things like, oh yeah, there's that feeling. It's like, oh, how can I? So the adopt, the family, that part of I have a realtor that we've known for many, many, many moons, and she still sends happy birthday, you know, that's a way, but just little things, handwritten. She has a mailer that goes out, but she takes the time to quickly do a post-it note, stick it on. Just that's like, oh, it just, even though it's.
You're never going to use another realtor, are you?
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's the point. That's the point.
Follow family.
I'm gonna work on the activate, because usually I'm hands-on and trying to, take care of the one that I'm destroying their property and put it back as quickly as I can. Like, I actually had a phone call earlier today. I had a client reach out to me and he's like, hey, I wanna add on, I need to add this retaining wall. Can you throw me your price for it? Man, sorry, I didn't figure you wanted to hear from me before 5 a.m. or after 10 p.m. That's what I've been doing the last 3 weeks. Sorry, I feel like I left you hanging, but I was so worried about the one that I'm invading their space that I let other balls drop.
Yeah.
So that's from the time of contract. I mean, because we're already contracted and I'm going to do yay. Now he wants to do yay.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad that I already have that relationship with him to where he's not thinking, oh, this guy's a flake, I'm going to go get the next guy.
Right.
I figure you're busy. Oh, you have no idea. But let's do this. And I need to be proactive about jumping in on that activate stage.
Yeah, and I like that. Again, we're not talking about it specifically today, but I don't want you guys to get stuck in thinking that, how am I going to do this, right? You're asking the wrong question. It's who can help me do this, right? Because if it's you all the time, eventually what are you going to run out of? Time, which is your most valuable resource, right? So who can help me do this? What company can create the thing for me so I don't have to create it, right? Can I leverage technology to maintain communication so I don't have to do it, right? So it's who, not how. You came in late, don't worry about it. We'll catch you up, don't worry. What do you got?
So my income is residual based.
Right.
So I am relationship driven. So I need to stay at the forefront of their minds for as long as I can possibly keep them. So I need to start with the card and gift, and then like a semi-monthly or quarterly email of some sort, whether it be educational or, get to know Paul. Once again, make him feel like part of the family.
Yeah.
That I'm part of the community and a real person. So, and just be diligent, build up that email list and be diligent, keeping in contact with them.
I like it. I like it. Thank all of you for sharing. I want you to answer one last question before we're done. At the beginning, I asked you a question and you rated yourselves. After going through everything we just went through, now where do you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? Some of you started 8, 9s, and 10s. Now, after those 8 phases that we talked about, where do you rate yourself? No, not negative. Not negative. All right, where do you rate yourself now?
8.75.
8.0. Okay. Okay, 8.75. All right.
Still a 9.
Still a 9. Okay.
Yeah, drop down. It's like 7.
7.
Yeah, I don't know, 7 or 8, somewhere there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I still dropped a little because of the communication piece of it.
Okay.
Still with an 8.
8. All right. 8.
Maybe more towards 8, 9 instead of 9, 10.
Okay.
I'm gonna go 8.5.
All right. 8.5.
Half.
All right. All right. Now it's all about competition.
Right. Oh, Adam's a little bit of a
7, 8. All right, Julie.
Because I don't give a gift.
Oh, she's not a perfect 10.
I'm going to move from a 7 to a 9 because my next customer is going to get the service.
Oh, I like it. Overachiever. Very cool, very cool. Again, the point in here is I want you guys to understand a couple things. Number one, there is no perfection. There's only progress, right? So that's what we're talking about. Constantly reevaluating what we're doing, how we're doing it, and how we can improve it, right? And then number two, it doesn't matter what your number is, right? Because to me, it doesn't matter. It matters to you. And I want you guys just to be really radically honest with where you're at and where you want to go, and then what pieces are going to get you there. So that being said, I should have done this at the beginning. I didn't do it. But I want everybody just to introduce themselves real quick. You guys will have some time to sit here and chat or whatever. Again, drink, snacks in the back. But I want you guys to get to know each other. There's definitely some relationships that need to happen here that you guys, again, can leverage each other to continue to grow your businesses. So.